Hello and welcome to this recap over Genesis 2. Now, let's go read Genesis to get a quick look back at what we read. The heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them, and on the seventh day God ended his work, he rested. God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because he rested from the works he made. And these are the generations of the heaven and the earth, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth. God caused it not to rain, but there was a mist on the earth, and God formed man from the dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Lord God planted a garden in Eden. Out of the ground God made every tree, the tree of life, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the rivers that went out from Eden. And God took the man, put him in the garden to dress and keep it. And he said to man, hey, you can eat every tree, but this tree of knowledge and good and evil, uh, you don't do it. You're gonna die. And then God finds that Adam has no helpmeet, so puts puts all the animals near Adam, and Adam gave names to all the cattle, but there was not a helpmeet for him. And God caused the sleep to fall upon Adam. He slept, get the rib, and he made woman. Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. Therefore shall a man leave his father, and his mother, and he shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. They were both naked and were not ashamed. So that's what we read in Genesis 2, brief overview. And then in Genesis 2, 2, and on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. Now, this is in reference to Exodus 20:11. You can go there. Which is, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. We went to Proverbs 4 again, which is, keep my commandments and live. He taught me also and said to me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. This is a commandment of God to keep the Sabbath day holy. But we can see, I think we'll read this later, that Jesus is the Sabbath. Maybe we'll read that later. Um, Luke 10:25, which is, who is neighbor? Luke 10:25. not in direct reference to Genesis 2, but Ephesians 5, we go there. Ephesians 5, verse 28, in reference to marriage. I'm gonna keep this Genesis 2 on the screen and read Ephesians 5. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. I put a sticky note in there somewhere. Oh, in Corinthians. Yes, I did. Here. 1 Corinthians 11:8. Read Ephesians 5, verse 28, and then let's go to 1 Corinthians 11:8, and then bring that up. References the structure of marriage, and we compared this to creation, which references Genesis 2. This Ephesians 5, 1 Corinthians 11:8 directly references Genesis 2, verse 24 and 25, and it discusses the similarity of Christ and the church and the relationship between man and the woman. So that's all we talked about in Genesis 2. And that's the main points we talked about in Genesis 2. So I'll see you tomorrow for Genesis 3 and a recap of Genesis 3.